yesterday, Emerson had an ultrasound, which she has every 3 months. Her condition is, I guess, at higher risk for developing something called a Wilms tumor. So she has a screening every 3 months to make sure there's no new masses or growths or lesions on her kidneys. So far, everything's been pretty normal. I mean, they've noticed there are differences with her kidneys, but nothing too concerning. So I didn't actually take her to that appointment. Her grandma Shelly did, since I had my own PT appointment, because I guess your body changes a lot after you give birth or something. So right now I'm just setting up for a call that I have with a certain company. They are trying to make videos for Rare Disease Day, which usually is on February 29th, since that's Leap Day. And any year that it's not a leap year, they do it on the 28th. So they're just trying to put together a few rare disease videos. And they are looking specifically for patients with PROS, which is kind of the umbrella term that includes Emerson's condition. They are basically just interviewing me about what it's like to be a caregiver of someone with Emerson's condition. I guess maybe I should look a little more presentable and put together if I'm going to be making a video that goes on their social media sites. Better? Thank goodness for braid hair. So filming yesterday went pretty well. It was just basically an hour of me talking about Emerson, so I had fun. So not that anybody cares, but Colin's dad actually has a weed whacker, so I've been able to do that in the past few days, and our yard looks so much better. Since we don't have any appointments today, I was able to go and weed whack some more, so I had to show you how much progress I made because I'm kind of excited about it. So I'm going to show you, even if you don't care. But I had to put Rhett down first because he was basically throwing himself out of my arms, and I think that was him telling me he's ready for a nap, so he's quiet, so I'm assuming he's tired. Ignore the blue tape because I'm trying to choose what size picture I want in here. It took me one evening of Grandma and Grandpa watching Emerson and Rhett and 2 nap times to get this whole section done. I am still not finished over here, but that's okay. I think the more of these videos that I make, the more that you'll start to notice all these unfinished projects around my house. The ceiling is not finished being painted. It's okay, we're getting things done slowly. We've got a lot of painting that we still need to do. We've really only done a few rooms. We've got a mattress hanging out in our dining room, but you know, we're a work in progress. It's all good. So I think right now, while Emerson's watching her movie, I'm gonna try putting her in her stander. We don't put her in as much as we should, and she's almost growing out of it, but we still need to do it. So this is Emerson's stander. She got it right before we left Chicago. So we've had it for a few years. And yes, it is as complicated as it looks. I feel like that's how pretty much all adaptive equipment is. Way complicated because you want to be able to adjust it and personalize it to the person as much as possible. So obviously we're using a stander with Emerson because she can't stand by herself. And it's going to be really good for her to put weight on her legs and kind of build up that strength. It also helps her core and I'm sure just overall body strength. But another reason that we use the stander is also to stretch out her foot right now. I'll show you. Hi, baby. Okay, so obviously Emerson's feet are, well, maybe not obviously, maybe you haven't seen her feet before. Emerson's feet are 2 different sizes. This is part of her condition. Let's just get your socks off, baby girl. Okay, so you can see she has some overgrowth on her left foot. This foot is extra tight, so we're supposed to be stretching it out. So I like being able to use the stander to stretch out her feet because then when she's putting weight through her leg and she's in her braces on a flat foot, then she's kind of stretching this out, and it's a lot easier than me sitting here trying to hold her foot in the position it should be in. So we have these AFOs, which stands for ankle foot orthotics. Anytime Emerson's in her stander or we have her in different types of seating, she has these on to just make sure that her feet are in the right position for bearing weight. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these on so we can put her in her stander, and I will show you how all of it works together. Okay, now for the tricky part. Okay, so Emerson is in her stander now. Just ignore the screaming baby in the background because he is fighting his last nap of the day. Emerson looks like she might be trying to have a bowel movement, as she usually does when she's in her stander, because she has motility issues, so it's nice to get her in this position to kind of help everything start moving. Emerson? So I usually will keep her in here for maybe like 45 minutes to an hour, just because I know it bothers her foot. You can kind of see that her foot is turning a little bit in her AFO, just because it is so tight that even in here it's hard to keep it straight. Usually she'll whimper when I get her out because her foot is bothering her because it's been in the brace for so long. We're still trying to get into a good routine since having Rhett, and it has proven to be a lot harder when you add that second kid to get stuff done. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. Emerson is not in other therapies right now since we moved, and she's been on a wait list, and now we have to get new evaluations, and it's just been a whole mess. So we're trying to get back into doing all these home therapies so that she's at least doing something while we're waiting to see the real therapist. It's a really frustrating thing right now that we're dealing with. But anyway, thankfully she doesn't mind her standard too much. As long as she has her movie on, she doesn't really care. Hi, baby. Okay, so it's a new day, and if we're being totally honest right here, I've already had kind of a breakdown today. This particular stress cycle started probably like a week ago. I feel like it kind of came to a head pretty quickly, and once I felt like I was gonna break down a little bit, I just knew I needed to let it happen, just let it run its course. I used the term stress cycle because I've been reading the book Burnout by Emily and Amelia Nagoski, I think is how you say their last name. And it's been really nice to be able to have terms to be able to describe my emotional state. I get overwhelmed really easily when there's a lot happening at the same time, especially when it's a lot of different like noises happening. And I was feeding Emerson, which is already one of the more stressful parts of my day, and Rhett was screaming like he's been doing for the past few days, and I think that kind of just pushed me over the top. But I think the main reason why I've been feeling so stressed and why I even got to this point is just because Emerson has an appointment today. It's not that I feel a ton of anxiety surrounding this appointment, it's that there's a lot of frustration surrounding this appointment. It's for therapy, of all things, to make me feel super stressed. She has an occupational therapy eval today. About a month before we moved, I put Emerson on a wait list for the hospital campus that is closest to us now. They told me that the wait was probably about 4 to 6 months, which I kind of knew going into it that it was going to be that long. But I hadn't heard anything from them since putting her on the wait list. And so a couple weeks ago, so January, I call them and ask for an update. They tell me that they can't find any active orders for therapy in their system. So I'm like, I know there are active orders. She's had active orders on her account for years. I mean, she's been in therapies since she was 4 months old. So I know that they're in the system. And I've had to fight a lot of battles over therapy in the last year especially, so I know they're in there. Then they look and they tell me that her orders actually expired in December. And that was for occupational therapy and physical therapy. They also told me that the speech one, she had the eval last July and there was never a plan of care put on her account, so they would have never even scheduled her. Speech is a whole different story. We're not going to talk about that today. They tell me that the orders expired in December. So I contact her doctor and say we need new orders. And since it's been so long on the wait list waiting for services, she orders new evals for Emerson, so they have kind of a fresh starting point. I call to schedule these evals. They tell me OT can be scheduled the next week, so that's it. That's what's today. They tell me that PT can be scheduled in March, and then they tell me that speech won't be able to be scheduled until this July. I've been waiting to get Emerson into speech therapy for over a year, but I said I wasn't going to talk about that one today. So by the time that we get these evals done, she'll get put back on the waiting list for another 4 to 6 months, and she could be out of therapy for over a year at that point. She needs to be back in therapy, and so because of some paperwork issue, basically, she will be out of therapy for most likely a year. I'm going into this evaluation feeling super frustrated already at their whole system. At this point, I don't know what to do. So, hence the breakdown. But hey, before this, it had at least been a few months since I last cried, or making progress, right? It used to be every few weeks I'd have a breakdown. So I guess while we're on the topic of therapy, I probably don't need to say this, but obviously I need my own therapy. So that is definitely one of my goals this year, is to get myself into therapy and just sort through all the stuff basically that's been happening over the last few years that has kind of all built up and caused me to not be able to fully deal with everything that causes me stress. So, yeah. So I guess right now I'm just really thankful for my in-laws who live 5 minutes away, who can come over basically at the drop of a hat and help me with the kids when I'm feeling really overwhelmed, because before I didn't get to have these kind of breaks with Emerson, and whenever I was having a rough day, it was bad. So grateful that we have at least a few more hands to help.
Just got out of Emerson's appointment and she's super happy to be done, huh? Super happy. Let's get this off. Yeah. That's her adaptive stroller. It's a beast. I'll have to show it to you sometime.
So we just got out of Emerson's appointment. She did not want to cooperate very much. She is so tired now. So basically they just kind of do an assessment to see what kind of skills that she needs to work on and what level of development she's at right now. It's nothing new. I feel like every time we go in for an eval, she's pretty much at the same level. Any of the skills or the milestones that she's meeting, all the progress is really slow, which we expect and we're used to it, and every little thing is something to celebrate, but it's a little bit disheartening sometimes to go into an eval and they ask all these questions like what she can do. It gets to a point on their list where it's like, no, she doesn't do that, no. At least with this one, she just said, if you have 3 no's in a row, just stop doing the eval. She's super tired back there now, so nap time again. She's always tired after her appointments. Thankfully, that's our last appointment for the week, so we'll try and do some more fun things for the rest of the time that we have this week. We just had a lot of the boring appointments and stuff like that, so I think we'll try and hang Emerson's swing in the backyard this week and maybe go look at bike trailers, because we were wanting to do that to celebrate her year of seizure freedom, but we still haven't gotten around to it.
You want me to have her sitting up?
Yes. Put her all the way back as far as you can. Well, then you know what?
The back is supposed to be where Albert is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did know that, but I couldn't get
Just pick her up and spin her. That's fine. That's perfect.
Emerson!
That's perfect.
Woo!
She won't fall out there. You.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you like that?
Hi. You can
She's
lay
like so
down.
happy.
I
Yeah.
like about the swing.
Oh, yeah, she can lay down.
Yep. She can sleep.
Oh, that's fun.